Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina, in this episode. Maririnig po ninyo yung panig ng mga may-ari noong restaurant sa Toronto na pinatawan po ng napakalaking penalty, $71,000. After the ESDC, yung ESDC po, yan po yung ahensya ng gobyerno dito sa Canada that oversees the Temporary Foreign Worker Program. They were fined $71,000, also imposed a one-year ban from hiring temporary foreign workers. After it was discovered na meron daw po sila mga violate sa kanilang LAMIA. Yung LMIA or LAMIA po, yan po yung kailangan munang i-secure, parang documentation, no? Na kailangan i-secure muna ng mga employers bago po sila makapag-hire ng foreign workers. Okay, let's make this clear before I share with you their story, no? Yung findings po ng federal court decision. Okay, yung federal court po kasi nagpunta na po yung mga employers doon, kumbaga para questionin kung reasonable ba itong pinataw po sa kanila na penalty. The federal court decision basically says that yes, the penalties are reasonable. So, kung ano man po yung maririnig natin from them, it will not change the fact that the penalties are going to be there. Pero alam ko, no, they're still exploring options on how to still dispute that, perhaps appeal, or try man lang pababaan po yung kanilang penalties. They're working on it, exploring, no, again, their options. They just wanted to share their story because sabi nga nila baka ito na lang yung magandang maidudulot noong nangyari sa kanilang very stressful. At ngayon, syempre, problemado po sila dito sa fines. Siguro by sharing their story, they can help expose this whole situation wherein dito po sa Temporary Foreign Worker Program, hindi lang po lagi workers ang naloloko. Kung minsan, even employers are also being taken advantage of by, in this case, ang paniniwala po nila, yung agency na nagdala po ng mga foreign workers sa kanila. Aminado po sila that perhaps they could have done more, no? To background check the consultant and be more aggressive perhaps, checking if all proper procedures are being followed. Okay? Pero ito na no? It is what it is. So they want to share their story para maging boses ng mga employers na naloloko. Baka nilalapitan ng ilang mga agency dyan, be careful. Okay, be careful sa mga kukunin po ninyong tutulong sa inyo. Because in this case, working with a shady consultant or parang unauthorized consultant cost them $71,000. Okay? Bago ko po i-play yung kanilang kwento, no? Balikan lang po natin yung federal court decision. Alright, this was published last March. Okay, March 2026. Ito po yung sinasabing mga na-violate daw po nila. The provision which requires employers to provide their workers with wages na nakasaad doon sa LMIA. Okay? Pangalawa, the one that requires employers to provide each foreign worker with working conditions na nakasaad rin po doon sa kanilang LMIA. And ang panghuli, no, yung requirement that in case an employer employs a foreign worker during the pandemic, kailangan sundin yung quarantine procedures, and they must provide the foreign national with wages during that period that are the same doon sa sweldo po nilang nakalagay sa LMIA. That one came with the biggest portion of the fine, $40,000 and a one-year ban. Later po, you will hear yung paliwanag po nila dito. By the way, ang pangalan po ng ating ma-interview, nakalimutan ko na banggit ay si Ms. Mila and Sir Zaldi Quachon ng Casa Manila. Let's hear first dito po kay Ms. Mila. No? Ikukwento po niya kung paano po nila nakilala itong agency na ito at maging yung mga foreign workers. Dalawa po yung involved dito na kanila pong kinuha. At kung maririnig niyo yung kwento nila, they went, kumbaga, above and beyond what they were told were their obligations as employers. Yun nga ang sabi niya, parang masyado kaming naging too trusting doon sa consultant. Who, by the way, nung mga panahon na sila ay iniimbestigahan na, I guess, no, nung IRCC, parang naglaho ng parang bula, hindi na raw nila makontak yung kanilang consultant. That's a big red flag, no? Let's play that first soundbite.
He mentioned, okay, you're going to have a lot more luck with this in finding a good candidate because they've been trained in Singapore.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, how does it work? And he said, well, you just like any other job interview, but we would be doing it by Zoom. Okay. So we proceeded step by step. And then they said, we have two candidates. So we had the interview and it seemed like there was potential. And we had, I think, two interviews. And they were both quite willing, they seemed very enthusiastic to come. And it was almost like very difficult to choose because they both really wanted to come. And it is in our mission statement to help newcomers. It is
Mhm.
something that is we don't advertise. It is in our mission to we've helped caregivers and international students, disadvantaged uh, youth at risk through the Toronto District School Board. So it's sort of a culture for us.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I was sort of fooled into it, but I know I said to Zaldi, I said, you know what? Maybe we should get both of them. We were told that, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything is being done on our end. All we have to do is offer them a letter of employment and
Mhm.
conform to the LMIA. So it we kind of like let them do their thing, and then after that we said we got a letter from them saying, okay, they have to leave now because if not, they have resigned from their job. It took them a little while, but they've resigned from their jobs, and they're ready to come. But COVID, we said, okay, what do we do? We're in lockdown. You know, what kind of we can't even train them because a lot of it we were dining,
Mhm.
right? And we decided, well, these people are out of a job. If they don't leave now, they're gonna. We were told that they're the ones that's paying all the fees,
Right.
right? And all of their pamasahe. It was going to be them. Our only obligation was to offer them a job, not even quarantine, not even anything. We obviously updated because the situation had changed with COVID. And so we decided, okay, we'll let them come,
All
both of
right.
them.
Oh, ayan. So, ang nangyari po, dumating kalagitnaan ng COVID. At ang sinabi sa kanila nung consultant 'no, sila daw ang may bahala dun sa accommodations, pero wala pala. And they only found out about it nung halos palipad na yung mga workers. So anong ginawa po nila, binigyan po nila ng accommodations. Binigay po nila lahat ng mga documentation na kailangan ng mga workers ipresenta doon sa airlines and mga border officials kung sino man, para maging patunay na meron silang accommodations. Again, ang sabi po nung employers nila Miss Mila, ni Sir Zaldi, ang sabi sa'min yung consultant ang gagawa niyan pero they didn't do it. So being the nice employers that they are, they let them live in their home. Sa basement po nila. Okay, binigyan din po nila ng pagkain, in-ensure nila na safe for the quarantine yung tutuluyan po ng mga workers. Pakinggan po natin si Sir Zaldi.
Our role was only to offer them employment. As far as accommodation and other intricacies that comes with the LMIA, they were all assured to us by the consultant. They will take care of that, and
Yep.
those were discussed with the foreign workers. The cost of transportation, they did that. Accommodation, we offered it to them. Food, we gave it to them free of charge.
Mhm.
My wife, every single day where they were in quarantine, was giving them breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So I think the long and short of it is that we did everything that beyond what we were required to do. Our only obligation to them really was to give them employment.
Right.
MK Migration was the one responsible really for for taking care of their accommodations, helping them, settle in.
All right. So that's the quarantine period, ano. Cut the long story short, guys. 5 buwan lang po nagtagal yung mga workers. Pagdating daw po ng workers, kasi at the interview, parang enthusiastic, no? Mukhang excited naman daw magtrabaho. Siguro maganda rin yung presentation ng kanilang background. By the way, reminder isa lang po talaga yung gusto talaga nila sanang i-hire. But they decided to just take them both. Baka makatulong din dun sa dalawa, kumbaga kung dalawa silang magsasamang lilipad sa bagong bansa, no? Then as mentioned, dumating po sila COVID. Siyempre, hindi po siguro full ang operations ng kanilang restaurant. Nonetheless, they were, given the opportunity to train. Yun nga lang, because of the situation during the pandemic, okay, the employers decided to amend yung wage offer po nila. Imbes na hourly, ginawa pong salaried. Okay, and the employers are saying they consulted the workers and they agreed to it. Ang ginawa po ng employer, sinabihan yung consultant na, okay nag-agree po kami nitong mga workers na babaguhin lang ng konti yung wages because of the pandemic situation. So, pwede bang i-amend rin ninyo yung LMIA? Okay, guys, kasi pwede naman po yun, basta i-inform nyo lang po yung IRCC. Okay, for potential amendments in the LMIA. Dito na po ang naging problema. Okay, this issue, this problem, cost them yung $40,000 na fine. Okay, sinabihan po nila yung consultant na ayusin yung LMIA. Ano nangyari? You can guess it. The consultant did not do anything. Akala po ng employers, ginawa po nila yon, but they did not. Syempre, nung nakita po ng ESDC yun, hindi naman po nila kasi titignan yung agreement ng employer tsaka ng worker. Ang titignan lang po talaga nila yung LMIA at ikukumpara doon sa naging actual na pasweldo. The employers, they even shared with me some of their documentation, communication, that they really discussed this matter with the workers.
Let me point out why.
Right.
The contention of IRCC was our non-compliant of the LMIA
Right,
because
right.
of the hourly that was supposed to have been taken care by that we have amended. And as I mentioned to you earlier, I even wrote the amendment to the offer of employment to that we have to change the hourly to salary. And he assured me that he will take care of it. He will
Right.
take care of the amendment for the LMIA because
Right.
it was approved. It was approved for the condition of that these two foreign workers will be paid hourly.
Right.
However, as my letter was saying and my discussion with him, unfortunately, my discussion was all verbal. I did not follow up with an email, so there was no documentation that this was discussed with him. And eventually, we found out that he was no longer with the company.
So, ayun. Sinasabi po nila basically yung negligence ng consultant cost them this biggest part of the decision. Okay? There's also another portion of the federal court decision na sinabing hindi raw po nila binayaran yung mga workers for the period when they were quarantined. The employers are also denying this. Ang nangyari daw po kasi, which by the way, meron din silang documentation about this. In fairness po sa employers, well documented po yung mga communications nila, both with the workers and the consultant. Before I proceed pala, please note, I am not dwelling too much on the names of the consultant and the workers because their names were not identified in the federal court decision. And since this episode is primarily to educate people about these kinds of situations, to warn people about what is happening, this is for public interest, I will not dwell on those too much. All right? I will leave it up to the employers to deal with that. Okay, ngayon, balikan natin yung pasweldo during the quarantine. Ang nangyari po kasi, binayaran naman daw po nila yung wages. Pero binayaran nila nung una ng pasweldo. Bakit? They adjusted the first sweldo, the first bi-weekly pay of the workers. Meron po silang kinaltas doon na cost nung kanilang accommodation. Kasi again, ang sabi raw po kasi sa kanila ng consultant, yung consultant dapat ang mag-shoulder nun. Hindi naman sila. Okay, so they felt that it was just right for them to recover their costs for the accommodation. So, binayaran daw po nila yun, okay, during the pasweldo. So, ganun daw po ang nangyari. Yun nga lang, para po dun sa mag-asawa, no, parang hindi raw po kinonsider masyado ng IRCC yun.
Yeah, there was a calculation that I submitted to IRCC.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if they have considered that. So the
Right.
calculation was based on the number of days that they were in quarantine and the amount of rent expected from the two of them.
Okay, eto na. So, alam nyo, as I mentioned, 5 buwan lang po nagtagal yung mga workers doon. In a while, the next soundbite I will play is with Miss Mila sharing kung paano na nangyari, no, na parang naramdaman niya na something's off with the workers. By the way, alam niyo ba, after the quarantine period, tinulungan pa daw talaga nila maghanap ng mga apartment, no, ng tutuluyan yung mga workers. They were even willing to co-sign for them. They were willing to vouch for the workers. Aba, tinulungan daw nila maghanap ng apartment. Siguro nung makakahanap na, doon lang po nila nalaman na meron po pala, at least yung isa sa mga workers, meron po palang bit-bit na pamilya. So the employers were caught off guard. They were again left in the dark about that fact. Yung isa po pala lang dinalang worker dito ay may bit-bit na pamilya. So nung nalaman po na buong pamilya ang bit-bit, they refused. Sabi nila, no, I will not co-sign for them kung ganun. But then, ang nangyari, nakahanap na rin daw ng sariling tutuluyan yung mga workers. So you see how well-intentioned the employers are, ano?
So they came here, and we basically are aware that we have COVID, but we gave them manuals and procedures and policies, training manuals, so that they could keep busy downstairs, and we could also pay them for something, right? We agreed to bring them 2 managers during COVID. Okay, that tells you something right there. Now, what had happened is that whenever we could, we would take them to the restaurant, fully masked, fully compliant. And they started to kind of like act funny and say, oh, this is hard. We cannot do this job. Like, it's almost as if, oh my gosh, like, did we make a mistake? And then, within a couple of months, one of said, I don't think I can do this job. And why not? Goes, well, I don't know. It's very different. I said, just hang in there. It's a period of adjustment. You're going to get through this. Right now, everything is hard because of COVID. And then within a few months too, we get a letter from email from saying that I have COVID. And okay, so my husband right away went over to, I forgot to tell you that during this time of isolation, we made it very clear that this is not a permanent thing. We're going to help you find accommodations, okay, for yourself, and we're going to co-sign, right, being your employers, and you have no history. So we took them, I drove them around to several places in the area, and so that they could choose one. So, and with the promise of co-signing. So we found one, and then when the landlord was asking how many people will be living here, they said 3 people. And I said 3. And then said, yes, 3, because my partner is coming. And I said, we weren't told about that there's another person. And
Right.
he goes, yeah, he's going to be coming. And I said, well, we can no longer co-sign you because we weren't told about this. This is after calling, hey, why weren't we told about this other partner? And we found out too that, he also paid a fee. Oh, and then they assured us, don't worry, you don't have to hire him. Okay, so this was sort of the first red flag. And then the other one was that they said, okay, listen, guys, you're going to have to find your own accommodations. We cannot co-sign 3 people. And then they left, very, very fast. And they said, okay, we found something on Facebook rental. Great. We even helped them move. My husband even helped them move.
O, ngayon puntahan natin nung umalis na po yung mga workers. In a way, the employers also, eto hindi naman natin mapatunayan, ano? But the employers feel na may iba rin po baka daw na agenda yung mga workers when they move to Canada to work for them. Baka may iba po talaga ang plano. Okay? Kasi ang nangyari, so nag-resign po yung dalawa. Yung gap na kanilang resignation, mabilis lang. Nauna yung isa. Ang sabi, kailangan daw po niya mag-resign kasi pupunta na siyang Alberta kung nasa nandoon ang kanyang kuya, nagtatrabaho daw. Kailangan daw niyang tulungan yung kanyang kuya sa pag-aalaga yata ng mga anak. Okay? Alam mo nung sinabi yun nung worker, the employers even warned this person na, uy, kung gagawin mo yan, baka mapahamak yung status mo. Kasi ikaw ay isang foreign worker, naka-closed work permit ka. Ang sabi sa iyong work permit, sa amin ka dapat nagtatrabaho. If you leave, in a way, you'd be in violation of your work permit. They even warned them about those things. Diba? Anyway, natuloy pa rin. Kailangan daw niyang umalis. Okay? And then after a while, not too long after, nag-submit din daw ng resignation naman yung isa for health reasons. Okay? Ang sabi, uwi daw ng Pilipinas. But it turned out eventually, they also found out that that second worker ended up also in Alberta. Kasama daw po yata yung isang worker. Yung naunang umalis.
Left it alone, and then we found out because of the T4 that we had to send, Saldi had to send, that they were both living in Alberta at the same address.
No, not the same address, same place.
Same place.
All right.
Okay, the same place. So this is where, you know, we said, I think we've been
And then
duped.
did they, narinig niya, no, sabi ni Miss Mila, that's the time when they felt like they were duped. Speaking of being duped, yung consultant po nila. Anyway, I tried to research, no, kasi hiningi ko yung names, yung agency. Yung pangalan po ng kanilang kausap early on dun sa hiring recruitment process, wala po dun sa portal ng mga registered consultants. So that tells me na unregistered po, unauthorized practitioner po yung kausap nila. Yung agency rin po, parang kasi base abroad, ano? Yung opisina dapat dito sa Canada, wala na. Wala na, naglaho na. May Facebook page, pero parang yung last post 2024 pa. So baka tapos na ang kanilang operasyon dito. I'm not sure. Noong mga panahon po na yung IRCC ay humihingi ng dokumento doon sa mag-asawa pertaining to these workers and, you know, the conditions provided to these workers, naku, hindi na po nila makontak yung kanilang consultant. Isa po sa mga pinakita sa akin ng mag-asawa ay yung email exchange nila, no? Doon sa agency. Alam ba ninyo, hanggang sa umalis na pala yung workers, they were not even provided a copy of the LMIA. They were requesting for it. Mali po yun. Bilang employers, no guys, you should have a copy of your LMIA so that you are aware specifically kung ano po ba talaga yung kondisyon na nandoon. In this case, sa totoo, hindi ko na po nasabi dun sa mag-asawa, no? Who knows what could have been there? Maybe they were told that their only obligation is to provide the job. We don't know because they have not seen the LMIA. Nung panahon na bago dumating, meron na po sila nun. Para habang nandoon yung workers, alam po talaga nila, klaro sa kanila kung ano po yung kanilang supposedly in-offer. Same with the time that they were asking dun sa amendment ng LMIA. Okay, they were asking for siguro proof na ginawa nung consultant, yung nabi niyang gagawin niya na ipa-amend yung LMIA, wala na. Naglaho ng parang bula yung taong kumausap sa kanila. Ang sabi nung opisina at that time, he's no longer working for us. You feel, and I'm gonna be straight up with you guys, do you feel that you were in a way duped by the consultant because they left you, or the agency did not inform you properly of like what they were doing, updating you with things that they should have been doing, and then letting you know about any complaints?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel totally duped or scammed or whatever you want to call it, because we had the best intentions.
Right.
We had the best intentions at heart for our restaurant, for our customers, for our staff to have a leader, good leaders, and for them to be able to help. We know how difficult it is. We're Filipino. Like, we know how life is difficult and how we have to leave the country just to feed our families and then, pass through Singapore or whatever country. And Canada is a very favorable place. So we were very happy to have been contacted and to be able to help. And then to have within 5 months, right from the beginning, it was a struggle because, they're already, we're homesick,
Right.
Now that I look back at it, it was staged. I feel it was staged. That's my feeling, from the beginning. Oh, this is hard. The restaurant hasn't even opened yet. How can it be hard? Right.
Okay.
And then I can't do the job. And then I have to leave. Of course, I feel totally, totally taken. And so, but
I think-
here we are.
yeah.
I know that, I am telling the truth. And I know that we had the best intentions and that we were living to our mission statement, which is written in our website, in our company website. And so I feel that we did what we were supposed to do. My husband is very thorough. I mean, if you can see all the documents that he does, and he is the one, I'm the one who sort of like puts things together, creative director, CEO, operations, but he's very, 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 very conscious about being compliant.
Obviously, what our next step will be. If there are any possible options available, we will explore that. At this point in time, we have requested our accountant to find out how these figures came into being,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
how they calculated the 3 different areas.
Right. Okay.
So we will have a meeting with our accountant first, because I think that's where we have to start first, so that we have an idea of how the numbers came into being.
I mean, we're doing this because we're sure that there are other employers
Right.
that have experienced, similar circumstances, but maybe don't have that means or the confidence to speak out. And it's always the employer that is the villain in many of these cases. But how about where the employer is actually the victim, which we feel? Now, admittedly, perhaps we could have done more. Zaldi as well, admittedly saying verbal opposed to having something documented. We made mistakes. We're not saying we're perfect. We're not saying we're angels. We're not saying that, we're holier than thou, but we treated them the way we would want to be treated, which is our beliefs. It's our faith and our religious beliefs to help, to treat others the way we want to be treated, and to do whatever we can to help. I mean, that's really it. If we are guilty, we are guilty of, I think, being a little bit too trusting. And that seems to be, for me, it's a lesson learned. It's a different world today. However, again, knowing that everything happens for a reason, especially when you feel that you've done everything in good conscience, that maybe this is why. Maybe this is the only good that will come out of it. It's not monetary, but maybe we can help other employers that they are being taken advantage of too.
All I asked was to have a day with the IRCC, so that we can also call these 2 foreign workers as witnesses. Because all these scenarios that we have talked about
Right.
seem to have been not regarded or considered in the
All right.
judgment, because what I have understood from reading the judgment is that it was reasonable.
Well, there you heard it. No. Kawawa rin naman. Again, despite everything they went through, to me, they sound like, well, well-intentioned employers, gusto nga nilang makatulong. And yet now, they are facing a fine. I'm not sure if they can still appeal this decision. Sana mahabol nila yung consultant, no? Yung sa mga workers, hindi ko na alam eh. Di ba? Hindi natin talaga alam kung ano rin story nun. For all we know, baka niloko din sila ng consultant. I don't know. Alright? But we will end this episode here. At least, na-share na po ng mag-asawa yung kanilang side, ano? So again, hindi lang po mga workers ang inaabuso dito sa immigration system ng Canada. Meron din po mga pagkakataon na pati mga employers ang nabibiktima. Alright? Okay, we will end this episode here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!